earned my respect, it is Gary Sinise. The work that he does with veterans is absolutely incredible, and most people don't even know about it. It's not just veterans, it's their families as well. In fact, he's taken 1,700 kids of fallen veterans on trips to Disney. He takes kids and families of our fallen soldiers at their worst moments in life when they're dealing with loss and mourning and regret, and he gave them something to be happy about. This man does not do this for fame or recognition or to look like a good person or to virtue signal. This man does good, the right thing to do, and he doesn't make a publicity stunt out of it. We could all learn a little bit from Gary.
Los Angeles, California. Just another day, but we all know can't leave plants outside anymore. Check him out. What a shame. Portland, Oregon. Check these guys out. Looks like they're trying to take down the light bulb or something. Yeah. Looks like he has a big jimmy, a crowbar or something in his hand. They run off because they see a car coming. And then they commence to break it in the house. Let's see what happens. Looks like the homeowner's home too. The car's right in the driveway. These guys are bold. Better have that Second Amendment on you at all times. Yeah.
Yep.
Nashville, Tennessee.
And the door to the church is open. This way y'all got it.
Yeah, those pillows aren't safe.
We gotta be blessed.
Better put that in the backyard or something.
No street.
San Diego, California. So this apartment owner catches this guy trying to steal, looks like a cooler or something from his backyard.
Y'all are never gonna guess what I found. Well, what found me? So this guy was seeing the sky in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, other places. Turns out I have friends in Pennsylvania. And yesterday just happened to have a lot of curious events in it. But let me preface this video by saying that they said it was a satellite. Of course they would not lie to us. This video belongs to Jessica, and this information belongs to Melissa. She has a family very involved with the Navy. Also, shout out to Santino Guzzo, because a lot of pictures I'm going to use in this video belongs to him. So Melissa's sister was at the beach yesterday, and she had noticed that there were Navy carriers actually on the beach. Now they know as a military family that it's not normal. Their carriers are docked in Virginia and they only go out when there's a mission. Look at that thing. Why would a satellite come out to the sides? Now we know the Navy carriers are completely unrelated. Onto a completely different subject. Now completely unrelated, don't forget we just had that steel mill explosion in Pennsylvania. Back to the spiral, completely unrelated, but it wasn't just Navy carriers, there were Navy jets in the air. Yeah, they exist, and that comes from a military family, who's always been a military family, I believe, and also, they know when things are normal and not normal, especially her mom and dad. This behind me is not Pennsylvania. This was the Russian spiral, I believe, that occurred last year. Do you notice anything weird about it? It looks exactly the same, even the flanges of light coming off of it. Now, 1000% unrelated on a completely different subject. Did you know that Aleister Crowley, Warner Von Braun, Jack Parsons, a whole bunch of guys got together and they're doing rituals in the desert? It was said they were opening a portal. Not too long after that, we had Roswell happen, but before Roswell, I found something very strange with the rituals. I have a whole video on the summoning of the moonchild in the desert, you can go watch it. When Crowley was doing his rituals in the desert, something called a cake of light, center of Gnostic mass and mass of the phoenix. A grand light that appears in the ritual. Do you know what this is? This is the Norwegian spiral from 2009. This is the Norway spiral. There were spirals all over the earth for years before SpaceX was even founded. Just a fun fact. By the way, did I tell you that Jack Parsons made it as a major in the armed forces? Literally, the same guy that was like Crowley, Von Braun, all of them. So why do all these spirals look the same? And you want to know something weird and completely unrelated? A whole nother subject, but you know in all those movies when they open portals they have crazy lightning? And the lightning and the thunder is so powerful where it shakes everything in their whole laboratory. That's crazy, right? Not related, but it reminds me of all the crazy storms we had leading up to yesterday. In the north and northeast where the thunder and lightning was extremely violent and strong. People were even saying they could feel the ground shaking like never before when that lightning was going on. I forgot to add a crucial detail. This right here is how crazy the human frequency is. You know, frequency, energy, etc. 2025, isn't it so cool that we were able to see a satellite in the sky?
Lithuania is now in a full-scale agricultural emergency. Government officials confirmed that between 50 and 70% of this year's harvest has been either destroyed or severely damaged by relentless summer rainfall. In many farming regions, the fields are so flooded that heavy machinery can't even reach them, leaving crops to rot in standing water. The produce that survives is downgraded in quality, further eroding market value. June and July brought the second heaviest rainfall on record for the country, surpassed only in 2007. Some areas saw more than double their normal precipitation. The losses stretch across wheat, other grains, and vital root crops like potatoes, though officials haven't yet detailed which crops have been hit the hardest. 13 municipalities had already declared local emergencies. Now, with the national declaration, emergency powers are in place to help farmers salvage what they can. Deadlines will be waived, penalties reduced, and state-level resources deployed. Neighboring Latvia is facing a similar disaster, warning that much of its harvest may never be collected. In Lithuania, the damage covers thousands of hectares, and the full impact on food supply and export markets is still unfolding. This is shaping into one of the worst agricultural losses the Baltic region has seen in decades, and the season is far from over.
People are outraged after supermarkets are now using facial recognition cameras to detect your behaviour, name, and even age. Check this out. Here's an example of how it works. Essentially, it will pick up your face and then it will give you an estimate of your race, your age, and even your height, and so forth. So here's an example. As you can see, this man is stood here. It's giving a rough estimate of his age, somewhere around 30, early 30s. It's giving his race, emotion on his face. So as you can see, the emotion is neutral. And then this one has an emotion of angry or fearful, which is absolutely wild. So supermarkets are now using these kind of special AI technology and facial recognition cameras to detect any unusual suspicious behaviour. And essentially what their plans are is to maybe detect shoplifters. Maybe if someone walks in looking a little bit nervous, they're going to take items from the shelves. Now, I want to see what you guys think about this. How do you feel about this? Because a lot of people in the original video of this basically aren't too happy with it, because they're saying, you know, I don't want this facial recognition camera on me. I feel a little bit awkward about it. I don't want, you know, these AI systems detecting who I could be, or my name and age and so forth. But
you couldn't sleep last night or in the past couple of days, it's because the Schumann resonance has been spiking. The Earth is entering a higher frequency, it's evolving, and only those who are shifting are going to feel the symptoms. Those who are not shifting are just going to stay in the same frequency, and in return, that's going to be the reality that they operate on. Depending on what frequency you're on, depends on what Earth you vibrate on. Bashar says that you don't change the Earth that you're on, you change yourself, and the Earth reflects that. There's an infinite amount of Earth, because the only time is now. So, if you're feeling these symptoms like ringing in the ears, headaches, feeling extra fatigued, moody, that's part of shifting into a higher core frequency. It's not a smooth and easy process. So if you're feeling these symptoms, trust that this is a good thing. You're raising your frequency. Take the time to allow for it to unfold naturally. Rather than trying to go out and make things happen, let go and relax and allow for the new beginnings, the new reality to render in. If you're insisting, you're resisting, so just let go completely, because the entire universe is working with you. Your higher self and your spirit team has your best intention at heart, and they're guiding you. So there's no need to try to figure out why things are happening, or there's no need to insist things happen a certain way, because the universe has that completely taken care of.
A male is the new lead cheerleader for the Vikings, and people are freaking out over this. The news was just announced today, and multiple season pass holders have already refunded their season pass, saying that this is the reason. And to make fans even more upset, the Vikings didn't just hire one male cheerleader, they hired a second as well.
The Constitution doesn't give us rights. It protects our inalienable rights. And the Sixth Amendment, it's one of the most practical, boots-on-the-ground protections that we have when the government points its finger at you. Here's what it actually says, condensed. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused has the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury, to know the charges, to face witnesses, to call their own, and to have the assistance of a lawyer. It sounds simple, but every word is there because the people who wrote it knew what it was like to be dragged through a justice system that was anything but just. In England, you could be locked up without knowing the charges. You could be hauled off in the night, tried in secret, your accusers hidden from view. You could be forced to stand alone, no lawyer, no witnesses, and no hope. The framers lived through governments that used trials as weapons, so they wrote this down as a line in the sand. Speedy, because justice delayed is justice denied. Public, so the process can't be hidden in the shadows. An impartial jury, not your enemies and not your friends, but a cross-section of the people. To know the charges, no guessing game, no fishing expedition. To face witnesses, no secret informants who can destroy you without showing up. To call your own witnesses, because defense isn't just answering, it's proving. And to have a lawyer, even if you can't afford one. And that last one, that's where the story of Gideon versus Wainwright comes in. Clarence Earl Gideon was accused of breaking into a pool hall in Florida. He couldn't afford a lawyer, so he asked the court for one. The court said no, because at the time, in many states, you only got a lawyer if it was a death penalty case. So Gideon lost, and he went to prison. But from his cell, he hand wrote a petition to the Supreme Court asking for them to hear his case, something they were not obligated to do, but they agreed. In 1963, the court ruled that the right to a lawyer isn't just for some people in some cases. It's for everyone, because without it, the rest of the amendment collapses. At his retrial, with an attorney, Gideon was acquitted, not because he gamed the system, because the system finally gave him a fair fight. And here's why this matters. The Sixth Amendment is not glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't make headlines like the First or the Second, but it is the firewall between any of us and the government that could accuse, prosecute, and punish without real proof. And in a time when court backlogs grow, when secret plea deals pressure innocent to confess, when surveillance can gather information you don't even know exists, this amendment is a quiet powerhouse. Here's the takeaway. If you care about your rights, then you care about everyone's rights in court, even the people you don't like, even the people you think are guilty. Because the moment you let the government bend the rules for them, it can bend them for you. The First Amendment is your voice. The Second Amendment is the last resort. The third keeps the soldiers out of your home. The fourth blocks your privacy from search and seizure. The fifth says you don't have to help build a case against yourself. And the sixth is your defense when you're accused. Not for privilege, not for loopholes, but for justice. Because in this country, you don't stand alone. Not if we mean what we say.
I just want to ask you one question, Mr. Chairman. The American people want to know what happened on Epstein Island. I'm not going to drop this topic. You've subpoenaed Bill Clinton. He's going to fight you tooth and nail with the best lawyers in the country in some cases. Do you think Bill Clinton ever actually testifies? I think his date is, what, October 12th?
Yes. I think we have a very good chance at this. I've never lost a subpoena battle. I've been chairman of that committee for a year and a half. This is the most challenging subpoena I've ever issued. But what makes this subpoena different is that the Democrats voted with Republicans. This is a bipartisan, congressionally approved subpoena. And I think that will hold a lot of weight in court. And you're absolutely right. He's going to have the best lawyers in America fighting us tooth and toenail on this. But the fact that this was voted on by Republicans and Democrats, because we're hearing from our constituents, everybody in America wants to know what went on at Epstein Island. And we've all heard reports that Bill Clinton was a frequent visitor there. So he's a prime suspect to be deposed by the House Oversight Committee. So hopefully we'll win that court battle with that subpoena and see President Clinton in October.
I hope so.
If North Korea launches one missile at us, we're going to launch 82 in response.
82?
82.
Seems a little excessive when you look at the size of Korea.
There is a sense of overkill, literally and figuratively. And you know this from your operating days. It's like go big or go home. We launch on warning. We do not wait until we are hit. A strike with a 1 megaton thermonuclear weapon against Washington, D.C. that I described, it kills 2 million people, Sean. It destroys the beating heart of American governments. The president now has a responsibility to limit further damage. 82 nuclear weapons could not just turn the entire country into a furnace, but obliterate their nuclear command and control, their ability to launch more nuclear weapons. That's why that is set up that way.
What has happened in the United States now is that the public has suddenly woken up and realized that they have been cheated ever since John F. Kennedy was assassinated. John F. Kennedy was the last honest president of the United States of America, or the last effective president. Ever since Kennedy, all subsequent presidents have been essentially owned as puppets for the deep state. That certainly includes the Bushes and Obama and the Clintons, okay? They were criminal co-conspirators with the deep state, which is the Rothschilds, the banks, the two-party tyranny, and then the corporations and the industrial complex and so forth.
The Alaska thing is crazy, and let me tell you why. Listen to me closely. We know the weather over there has been absolutely insane. We also know that there's the glacier melt-off, and they're doing a whole bunch of evacuations, right? And again, like every single mass event, we have a brand new frequency pattern in a way we've never seen before. Fascinating. Let's come right back to it. Sorry, a glacial lake outburst. By the way, this was the same exact location having this, I believe, in 2023. On a completely separate note, not related at all, this was said and everyone was confused.
And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty.
This Friday, in 2 days. But the really weird thing, when people heard him say that, they're like, wait, you're going there and not to Alaska when Alaska was the meeting place? Y'all remember last year when that same guy, he came out and said that the sale of Alaska was wrong and basically they should still own Alaska? Oh, this, right? Hold on. And I mean, really, hold on. Now on a completely different subject. Do y'all remember when the great earthquake came? We had that tsunami that came? And I had told you guys when this happened that not even 24 hours prior that a deadline had been given over to that same exact guy. And then nature, nature started going insane between Alaska and Russia. Remember I started showing you guys all these grids and these patterns with the earth moving in certain ways and all that good stuff? Hold on, we're getting there. And then I showed you guys how there's a crazy correlation between the Schumann frequency when the earthquake happened and the same exact correlation between the Schumann frequency and the Texas flood. And then even further, I showed you the massive correlation between the floods that we just had, the lightning and the thunder, with again the Schumann frequency. This was just in the sky last night in Alaska, by the way. All unrelated, just cool facts. And unrelated again, the thing that we just saw, again, matched with the Schumann frequency, but even further, while all this is going on in Alaska, we have another site that we have never seen. I've been watching this thing a long time. Anyone who has also been watching it last time will agree. Not normal. And remember, it measures the Earth's frequency, but that's not to say an outside frequency cannot get mixed in with it. Example, we've seen it spike with the auroras coming way down south. Crazy, I think we're onto something. Now back to the subject at hand. He's meeting Putin Friday in Alaska.
The door right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, you can do it now.
I'm with ADT Security. I just wanted to stop by, let you guys know there's been some break-ins in the neighborhood. I'll leave a pamphlet on the side of the house, and just give us a call if you guys are interested in any type of home security.
You're now watching Doorbell News.
Hello? 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 Is somebody there? Anyone?
doing? Dropping this off here. Are we dumping stuff? Just dumping it off. Okay, well, we're on camera. So, alright. Here's your license plate number. 019. Alright, thank you.